So Sandy, going back, I just wanted to ask you, what inspired you to open up this Romulo's Cafe?
Well, really, the goal of opening the Romulo Cafe is to share my grandfather's multifaceted life to the youth of today, because the youth of today don't really know what my lolo was all about and all his achievements and what he's done for this country. And we'd like to perpetuate his legacy by opening this restaurant.
So it is a some sort of like a tribute.
Yes, it's a tribute to him.
Yes, and his achievements. I enjoy the old photographs that you have here in the Pride Wall of the Romulo family. It's, I believe, an awesome, yes, museum, and in a way of promoting the history of his life and his achievements. Yes.
Yeah, it's fascinating that he has so many different parts of his life that are interesting, and each career that he chose, he always stopped it. And we hope that that part of him will inspire the youth of today, the Filipinos of today, to also aspire to be world-class and do their best in whatever they choose.
For many of the viewers, especially for the younger generation that's not so aware of his background and his achievements as a public servant, can you give us, in your own words and in summary of his political career, for instance?
Yeah. Well, he started off as a newspaperman. So the newspaperman becomes the Pulitzer Prize winner. Then he was also a teacher. And the teacher becomes head of the Philippine University and Secretary of Education. And then he's also became the aide-de-camp to MacArthur and ended up to be a general in the U.S. Army, two-star general. And then he became a diplomat, so he was an ambassador. And then he becomes the first president of the United Nations. And then foreign secretary for many years. So all these achievements, he topped all the careers that he chose. And that was very inspiring for us to see that.
And in his family background, did he come from a well-to-do family?
Well, he came from Camilin, Tarlac, where my grandfather was the governor. And he was educated first there during the war, and then he went to Philippine High School in Intramuros. And then later on, UP, University of the Philippines. And then he became a scholar, and he was sent to Columbia University.
An Ivy League school.
Yes.
He had a very good educational background.
Yes.
But it's amazing what he has achieved. I mean, how does one achieve so much in a lifetime?
In the lifetime, correct.
Yes. Sandy, can you also describe to us what were some of the challenges you had when it came to opening up this beautiful cafe?
Well, the challenges were to make it appear like it was our own residence. My partner, Ivy Almario, who did the design of the restaurant, looked at old pictures of our residence, and that's why you see the black and white walls. You see the floors are black and white. The design of the walls downstairs were the design of the gates and the wrought iron doors and things we had in our old house. Because the idea of opening this restaurant was that people would come into the Romulo residence and see how it was during my grandfather's time, when he would entertain dignitaries from abroad, and my grandmother would prepare the food. And so the whole concept of Romulo Cafe is that coming into our home.
Mi casa su casa.
Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly.
That's a good theme, and it's also almost like bring you back in retrospect during that era, in the era of your grandfather,
Yes.
right? Your grandfather.
And another challenge was being true to the recipes of my grandmother.
Okay.
Trying to make the food look attractive, modern, but at the same time not compromising the quality and the taste of the food and the way that it is cooked.
So you're talking about still being consistent with authenticity.
Yes.
What is purely Filipino.
Yes.
So can you tell me you don't believe in, this day and age, sometimes a lot of restaurants, you don't really know if they were originally authentic anymore. It's like there's a fusion of many different
Yeah.
cultures in the different cuisines that's presented now in many restaurants.
Well,
What is your opinion about
yeah,
that?
well, I think that each chef has his own creative mind.
Okay.
So it really comes from the heart. Cooking comes from the heart. So each chef has their own taste, their own vision. So we have to respect their vision for whatever they sought out to do. And usually, it's when it's made with passion, it tastes good.
Can you tell me how many branches do you have?
Well, we have 3 branches in the Philippines and 1 in London.
Can you tell me about the challenges you do have in a different culture like London? It must be very competitive over there.
Yes, well, I think the biggest challenge we have in London is trying to get Filipino food known to actually the locals, meaning the Londoners. Of course, we want the Filipinos to also appreciate the food, but we really want to open it up to the international community.
London is indeed a very cosmopolitan melting pot.
Of different
Capital
cuisines,
of
correct.
The world.
Yes.
One of the capitals of the world.
And that's why we thought it was appropriate to open in London.
So it's almost like pioneering, trying to bring out the Filipino cuisine in an international global scenario.
Correct.
So how have we been doing so far?
Well,
how many years has it been?
It's been, this is our 3rd year,
Okay.
and I'm happy to say we've gotten several awards from people like Time Out, which does a survey of most loved restaurants in London.
It's based in UK.
Yeah, they have different areas, and we won 2 years in a row Best Loved Restaurant in Kensington High Street, where our restaurant is. And recently, another awarding body called Chopstick, we are one of the finalists for also the contest. So we've, I think, been successful in creating awareness to the people in the UK when it comes to Philippine cuisine.
And for other different nationalities of that,
Yes,
from all over the globe.
correct.
Would you encourage other Filipino entrepreneurs, especially in the restaurant business, to get into that
Mhm.
kind of a bold move, trying to compete in the international scene?
Yes, I would encourage everybody because Filipino food now is trending. It's becoming the next best thing in cuisine. So I think every Filipino should ride the wave of the new awareness towards Filipino food.
Can you expound on that a little bit more? Why is it the next best thing?
Well, that's what they're saying because a lot of like young chefs in the US are creating waves. Like,
Filipino chefs are that.
yes,
I have a relative who's the main chef of Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas.
yeah, and there are lots of like young ones that have opened, like Bad Saint in Washington D.C. has gotten rave reviews. There's Maharlika in New York. There's Jeepney. There's several, like a lot of Filipino restaurants getting rave reviews in the U.S. And I think Jollibee has also created awareness to
It's true.
as to Filipino, food abroad. I mean, the phenomenon of the lines that were miles away when Jollibee opened in the UK as well as in Italy.
Wow.
It was fantastic. Like, people were just dying to get in to have the Jollibee fried chicken.
Interesting. I remember we have a client that having a photography studio. She wanted to have her photographs taken here by us. She's actually half Swiss and half Filipino. And one of the things that she loves to do when she does come back here in this country is to buy a Jollibee and even try to bring it home in Switzerland. So she also is so in love with the Jollibee.
Yeah. So it's really very encouraging that, and there's a very big Filipino movement in the US to promote Filipino food.
Really?
So it's really very good that they're doing this. And then the trade secretary, my cousin, also goes around Europe promoting Filipino food, bringing renowned chefs like Gaita, Forrest, where they present Filipino food in the different international fairs in Europe to create awareness with Filipino food.
So Margarita is also very aggressive when it
Oh
comes
yeah,
to
of course,
promoting.
especially with her prestigious award of being Asia's female chef. So of course, she brings prestige to the Philippines. And so taking her on these trips to introduce Filipino food is a very big thing for us.
Interesting. What separates you, Sandy, from other restaurant operators?
I think what separates our restaurant is the history that we bring with our food, because it's a combination of heritage cooking, which is my grandmother's, and the history of my grandfather. And I don't think that any other restaurants now in Manila bring that same vibe. And that's, I think, what sets us apart from the other Filipino restaurants.
I totally agree. Having come over here and spending a little time for lunch has also brought me back not only the Filipino the good Filipino cuisine, but also a bit of a part of the Filipino history. It's very much a part of your restaurants. It's in the walls. It's in talking about the history. So it really brings you back.
And we want to promote Filipino pride in our restaurant. So looking at pictures, we hope to bring pride to others also, that there was such a Filipino diplomat that gave honors also abroad, that he was respected by all these big names in the world.
Yes.
And hopefully it will bring them pride and inspiration.
Yes. Actually, the premise of our show is very much in line with that. If we can tell epic characters like your grandfather and his achievements, hopefully to inspire and then empower other people to do the same. To try to do, to try to serve the people or the majority of the people for the common good.
Correct.
To serve others, I think, is one of the formulas of happiness.
Yeah. Well, his passion was the United Nations. He served in many years in the Security Council, so he was very active with world peace, human rights. He worked alongside Mrs. Roosevelt, who was very big on human rights. He worked a lot with many of the U.S. presidents, dignitaries like Lee Kuan Yew, the Shah. He also knew the Shah of Iran, Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, and her father Nehru. He had so many friends all over the world that he would correspond with and meet with and talk to. And what's fascinating is he would write us letters when he was abroad to tell us of who he met, what he did today, and he would mention all these big shot names, and it was very nice to. Well, of course, when we were young, we didn't really think anything of it, but rereading the letters are like saying, wow, this is history. Not realizing it then, but realizing it now as an adult that, he really made a lot of history in his lifetime.
Interesting. His story should really be told again. Maybe we should come up with a short film about his life and your family.
And what I love,
inspire.
what I love the most is like Koreans would come who were in the Korean army, and they gave him an award like 2 years ago, posthumous, for helping with during the Korean War. He was instrumental in asking the U.S. for giving help to the Koreans during that time, and the Israelites, they're like the ambassadors. They come here, to dine here, also because they're grateful to my grandfather for what he did also for Israel, being the last vote during the United Nations.
Yeah, the swing
Getting
vote.
the swing vote.
To make Israel
Yes. Apart.
as a state, not
Yes.
a nation.
And so they always tell me how appreciative they are of that.
Certainly, very much a part of history.
Yeah.
Because of that important vote.
Yes.
And our representative was your grandfather.
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
And even the United Nations flag, the little dot
Okay.
that represented the Philippines, my grandfather insisted on it and said that even if it was just a dot, he wanted it there because we were part of the United Nations.
So indeed,
And indeed, it is there in the seal of the United Nations.
Interesting.
So all these things that are not in the history books in the Philippines, it's not taught in school. So these are little things that we hope that people will get from coming to the restaurant.
We should come up with some kind of an audiovisual, to pay tribute about, in a short, like audiovisual presentation, maybe, like a flat screen TV here, just so people can just
Yes,
take a look at it and just have that glimpse of
his life,
his
lifetime
life,
achievement.
and how he served
That's why we
country.
came up with a little book that I gave you,
there you
just
go.
so people would read some snippets of his life.
And the epic moments of
Yes.
his career,
Yeah.
his political career.
Correct.
Amazing. Let us take part in that. Let's talk about that project one time.
Sure.
That's one of the main reasons. That's why we're here, actually, this stage in my life where, if I could be back in society, coming up with a channel for people to voice their opinion, their aspirations, and their inspiring stories. Certainly, that would be a little contribution we can give back to society. Interesting.
Yes.
What about for your management style? Can you describe us how you've made this not only survive, but as a successful and prominent restaurant?
Well, both my husband and I are very passionate about this restaurant. But my husband is actually the real restaurateur, not me. So he's the one who really does the day-to-day management of the restaurant. And well, I, do the front of the house and greet people, take them on tours, talk about my grandfather's life. More
The PR
more that.
and the marketing side of it,
Yeah.
which is crucial.
Which is crucial, but
It's all about
and he does the
relationships
back of the house.
and connecting to people and to your clients and
Yeah.
customers. That's an extremely crucial role. And I think you fit the role as well.
Well, I'm trying to.
So is this your first enterprise? I mean, it's your first business that you really got involved with?
Well, we've really been in the food business for some 25 years, but
Okay.
this is the first restaurant that we put up. And after that, we have several other restaurants that we run. But this is the main and the first one that we put up 10 years ago.
And for the near or even coming future, do you have any plans that you want to talk about when it comes to?
Well, we're hoping to maybe open more branches or open other outlets that will perpetuate other sides of my grandfather's life. So it's in the works. So we'll see.
And when it comes to your personal vision and mission and advocacies?
Yeah, well, yeah, we support this foundation that helps empower women, because I'm very much for women empowerment. And what they do is it's called Foundation for Professional Training. And what they do is they get girls from different backgrounds, and they teach them a trade in the industry of F&B and in the tourism industry. They teach them the back of the house or the front of the house, which is baking or cooking and doing like reception work or cashiering, waitressing. And aside from teaching them those trades, they teach them values. And there are like 5 different schools that this foundation is connected to. And so what they do is we try to raise money for them. Our London office has had 2 scholars already from the school, and we have OJTs that come to train in our restaurants. And we have like one success story is one of the girls came here as a buyer for the restaurant, and now she's the supervisor, manager in our restaurant. So she's really come up the ladder, and it's because of the training, I believe, of this foundation that she was able to rise the ranks because of her dedication. And it's very hard to find employees nowadays. Talking about challenges of opening a restaurant, finding people that are passionate and have the heart and what they say malasakit for the company. And when you find people like that, you have to really reward them and show them that this will take you places. So we really believe in the values that this foundation is teaching these girls, and hopefully we can help more of these scholars do the same.
Those are amazing plans.
Yeah.
For your last message, would there be anything you would want to tell our viewers?
Well, what I'd like to say to the viewers is I'm hoping and striving that the Filipino will take pride in being Filipino and trying to be world class in every way possible they can. In this time of communication, you have access to anything you want in the world. And so I think that the youth should really strive to do their best and do everything world class and not haphazardly and jump from one thing to another. I think that's what we lack today's world. They have no focus on goals, and I'd like to bring that back. I think that they should have more focus and try to concentrate on what they're passionate about and not think of the material things that come with the jobs they choose nowadays, and do it more out of passion, because I believe if you do it out of passion, the rewards will come in later. But I think patience is a big part of it, and that's what I'd like to impart to the youth of today.
I think it's a beautiful message, Sandy. again, thank you so much for getting the chance to interview you and for inviting us over.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Sandy.